Welcome. This is the Student Disability Resource Center presentation session for Parent Orientation. Our disability specialists are present today to provide a very brief overview of our services. My name is Glenn Wild, and I'm one of the disability specialists.
I'm Jennifer Biggers, and I'm also a disability specialist.
I'm Will Pines, and I'm the Accessible Technology Specialist.
First off, we have our department mission statement. Our mission is to promote an inclusive educational experience for students through the advocacy of equal access, disability and ability awareness, and self-empowerment.
If you're watching this video, you may have a student with a disability or a student who has received services in the past. Services in the K-12 system differ from the university setting. In the K-12 setting, the school is responsible for identifying the students needing accommodations. Parents and other stakeholders are involved in determining the accommodations and services needed, and they meet on an annual basis. These supports are put in place during the duration that students are in school. Parents, caretakers, and teachers provide a lot of direct support to ensure the student is understanding, completing, and submitting coursework. At the university level, the student is required to self-identify, and because of FERPA, students are recognized as adults and parental involvement is limited. The student partakes in the interactive process, and if the student would like, the parent or support person can attend the meeting. Accommodations are put in place to ensure student access. Students are responsible for developing study habits that lead to their own success. Professors expect students to meet syllabus requirements, and they're available for meetings during their office hours.
The Student Disability Resource Center serves disabilities, including hidden disabilities, which could be psychological, ADHD, autism spectrum, chronic health conditions, neurological, and acquired brain injury. Some visual disabilities that we serve are blind, visual impairment, deaf, other hearing impaired, speech communications disability, mobility, and manual impairment.
Here are general stats about our department. We have about 5% of the student population registered with our office. We have approximately 171 graduate students. Most of the students registered with our department are undergrad students. We have a little over 1,200. The majority of the students registered are registered with psychological disabilities. We are also seeing a steady increase in neurological disabilities and are ensuring our programming reflects the needs of our population. Students who want to register with SDRC can go onto our online portal and complete a pre-registration and upload documentation regarding their disability. Once this is complete, the student schedules an intake appointment with a disability specialist. We do have documentation guidelines and disability verification documents available online. Documentation provided must be current and include diagnosis and a prognosis. Should identify functional limitations that support the requested accommodation, and should be signatured by a licensed professional who is qualified to diagnose and treat the condition independently. Examples of insufficient documentation would be exit IEPs and other documentation that does not meet UC standards. Disability documentation completed by family members who happen to be doctors, and incomplete or outdated disability documentation. Once accommodations are agreed upon, students sign off on an accommodation agreement form and is given an orientation of services.
Examples of the types of accommodations that our office approves for students would be administrative accommodations, including such things as disability management counseling, priority registration for students who qualify, and coordination for services with off-campus departments. We also assign classroom accommodations like audio recording of lectures, using personal laptop to take notes, ASL sign language interpreters, and lab assistance when needed. We assign testing accommodations such as a reduced distraction testing environment, extended time, a scribe or adaptive software. We also coordinate with housing to provide accommodations. If a student needs a first floor, lower bunk bed, automatic door, etc. And if a student needs dining accommodations, if they have a food allergy or a gluten intolerance, we coordinate that as well. Finally, if a student is working on campus, we can make a referral to human resources to make sure that they have the employment accommodations that are necessary. An example of accommodation that we wouldn't provide would be a personal aid. Accommodations always vary depending on the individual, the environment, and the verified functional limitations.
The accommodations that the SDRC approves are not allowed to modify and are not allowed to modify certain things in higher education. Those may be lowering expectations for the classroom and the course content, grade adjustments, or alterations to the fundamental course of study. What's next after registration? We recommend quarterly check-ins. Students may request to review their accommodations plans as needed. Any changes to accommodations must result from an interactive process. We do not mandate regular appointments.
Some things to consider when you're entering UCR as a new student. It is the quarter system, so the term is 10 weeks long, so it's a little condensed. You might want to consider the number of units you're taking for your first quarter. Our office may recommend only taking 12 units, which is still full-time. If you're going to have personal adaptive technology, the student is going to be expected to know how to use it. There are loans of certain personal equipment through our office, such as smart pens. If a student's going to study abroad, we can offer accommodations for that. Just make sure the student talks to their disability specialist. UCR is a research institution, so some of the classes may be taught by a TA. As we mentioned earlier, it's going to be important for the student to talk to their instructors during office hours when necessary. And there will be larger classes at UCR. Some classes may contain up to 200 students. And it's a fast-paced learning environment, so students are going to be in charge of their own independent learning. If students have the UC SHIP insurance, they may qualify for LD testing. And they could talk to a disability specialist to find out more about that.
Other things to consider when entering UCR. Students should consider prescription refills through our health center. Students must also secure their own medications. Continuity of care for chronic health conditions is vital. Become acquainted with our university resources available to all students. That includes case managers, Counseling and Psychological Center, which is our CAPS, and our Academic Resource Center, which has resources for tutoring and ACE counseling and encouragement through our ACE program.
We mentioned earlier to consider the number of units you plan to take. Students with disabilities, given time spent on managing symptoms, are going to need more time to complete coursework. This is a popular slide that many of our parents will take a snapshot of and share it with their students as a reminder that they should sign up for 12 to 13 units the first quarter.
We like to advise all students to plan ahead, but specifically students with disabilities. So some things to avoid are all-nighters, skipping meds, skipping meals, missing classes. If you miss an assignment, it's much harder to make up than it is if you stay ahead. We advise not getting behind in your coursework and not seeking help when available. Instead, make sure you make a timely request of your accommodations through our office. You practice good hygiene. You have good nutrition. Take a manageable course load. Meet with your instructors during office hours. And at the first sign of struggle, make sure you seek help. There's many resources on campus. When in doubt, talk to your disability specialist. If we don't know the answer, we can point you in the right direction.
The Student Disability Resource Center provides an array of programming for students with disabilities. If you're an incoming first year or transfer student, you may be interested in being paired with a peer mentor through our peer mentor program. They're able to provide guidance and support throughout the school year. If you're looking to improve your organization and time management skills, consider joining the Time Management Workshop Series, where you will learn tools and best practices to meet your organizational goals. For students who identify as neurodivergent or on the autism spectrum, neurodiversity mixers are regularly held, and students are given a platform to voice their concerns on the type of support they would like to receive and the opportunity to work on their communication skills. In collaboration with the Career Center, we also have the Aspire program, a career development and professional leadership program focused on expanding career skills and transferable life skills for undergraduate students with disabilities. For advocates and allies for students with disabilities, the Student Disability Union works closely with other student-led clubs and faculty to create inclusive programming and promote disability awareness.
If you have any questions, you may contact us at sdrc@ucr.edu with your general questions. These questions will remain confidential. You can also make an appointment by phone at 951-827-3861. Thank you and welcome to UCR.